Welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Show Recap Podcast. I'm TyJon Charlie, sitting down with Alex Girard from NoRobot, Ryan Edward Wolf. Today we're here to talk a lot about NoRobot's new album. So let's just get an intro going. Let's, what's the album called? When is it out? What have you released so far? All that fun stuff. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we have a new album coming out called My Decline on August 25th. Hopefully we'll be having a release show too, site to be determined. 5 songs, bonus song at the end. It's a mix of older songs I wrote back in 2006, 2008, some newer jams. We just wanted to get basically a lot of stuff we haven't been recorded yet that we still play out a lot, front of mind. And we've released 2 singles so far up to this point. My Decline, the title track, the titular song on the album, and Let It Go. And
what was that word you used?
Titular.
Okay, let's dive into that. Okay.
Title track or something. I always think of this ridiculous UCB sketch where this guy's like, I had the title line in Star Wars, the titular line.
Oh, yeah.
And so that word always, that's a fun word.
I like it. I like it. I need to
Educational podcast.
Right.
Put that in your
something.
tags, too.
Nice.
You learned something today.
You could put the definition at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, put that on screen. Titular. I don't know anything. That's about as well read as I am. So I learned that one on TV.
With the My Decline, the title track, I've listened to that definitely more than a handful of times, and I've really enjoyed it. Seems like there's a lot of angst and a lot of attitude, and the overall mix is really nice of that song.
Yeah, man. That is our drummer Toads. He's our secret weapon. I would say that, but I don't think it's really much of a secret. Everyone in town's hitting that dude up. He does great work. So don't at him. He'll be very mad, but he can't say no. Yeah, he mixed the whole album, a lot of the post-production stuff, a lot of the keys, all the MIDI stuff. He does great work.
Yeah, I really, really like the kick drum tone on that.
Yeah.
For some reason, that just, really stands out to me as being, really solid. And I feel like that's a tone that's so hard to kind of actualize in the studio. But, part of it is obviously how you record it, but I never have a good ideal for a kick drum. I'll know it when I hear it. That's kind of
right.
That's kind of how it is.
That's kind of how I am too. It's I'll tell you what if it doesn't sound
right,
good,
which for I'm sure an engineer is just a nightmare. Just all right, this one, all right, this one, no, that one, no. But now I have a good reference track, so I can just show them that track and be like, there's something about this kick drum I really like. It's it cuts through, but it's not too clicky, and it's I feel like one of the hard things about a kick drum is I get annoyed by a clicky kick drum. I know you need to cut through to an extent, but I'm more about the feel of it. I think, but it's just a hard sound to capture. So I was really impressed with how it's such a weirdly specific thing to be really impressed about. But I just feel like it takes me so long to.
You get into the weeds with this stuff, We've all been working on, you just released your newest single, which I've been really enjoying a lot, too.
Thanks.
I love it's got, some Devo-esque quality to it,
Yeah.
That real, I think you really capture, the kind of haunting aspect of some of that sort of, digital soul. It kind of goes with NoRobot. It's a little bit of a warning, I feel like. Or it's, it's a little dystopic. It's not necessarily
that's a good way to...
Yeah. It's not necessarily a positive commentary.
That's what you were going for.
Exactly.
And that really cuts through. It's there's some real, that wonky synth or whatever that is in there really, kind of is,
and then that second half of it gets pretty crazy with the drum machine and digital instruments because... But, I was kind of trying to bring that stuff out.
And that acoustic cuts through really nice in that chorus, too. It really kind of...
And that's all Jeff Easton, who's I've been working with for maybe, 10 years, something crazy. Since, I guess it would be 2012, so over 10 years. Even before that, though, because he did our first EP. So, maybe almost 15 years or something crazy. And, after you work with an engineer for a long time, it's really easy to get on the same page. I think I do kind of wear him out a little bit because I, would get a little tedious with things. But he's got such just like, I feel like his own addition. He played all the auxiliary instruments. I had Doug Cook play the bass on that one. That's why it says featuring Dirk Berg. That's Doug Cook. But every other instrument that I didn't play. So I did the guitar, the vocals, and then Jeff did the drums, the synth, pretty much anything else you can think of. I did the backup vocals, obviously, but having his artistic expression in there, it's like a fingerprint. I feel like you can almost hear him in it.
I think you nailed the artwork for that single as well.
Yeah, that was cool using that AI stuff. You showed that to me. I immediately had some real fun with that. I prompted it to write a song in the style of Will Smith, justifying the invasion of Iraq. Just pumped it out in like 10 seconds, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
so I have that saved on my phone.
The AI stuff is crazy. I've been getting pretty into it lately, and it's a very helpful tool. I will say that you can't rely on it for everything. It's definitely not there.
I'll never write another song.
you literally, if you wanted to, you could just have AI write all your songs. I'm sure there's some way to digitally detect.
That'll be the next big band, AI.
Yeah. There was one called AFI.
It's all encompassing, man. NoRobot. I don't know how we feel about it, We do have a robot as a mascot, so, But to your point with the engineer, I wanted to say we recorded all of the tracks. We did some overdubs, some post-production at Toads, but we recorded everything at Tone Good Studio in Urbana. And Mark Wyman was the engineer, and Toads worked with him before on Recombinant Records. And it just sounded great, man. It was real easy to work with him. He gave Toads everything he needed, so it was seamless transition to the mixing, mastering stuff.
Right. Which, it's so crazy, how many different ways there is to do it. Because, ideally, for every musician, I think the goal would be to do it all in the studio the whole time from start to finish. Maybe send it somewhere to be mastered, but other than that, but it just gets so expensive to take your time at that point. So it's it's kind of a give-take thing. The more you can do out of the studio, the better. But I think that, ideally you would be doing everything in there, and it gets kind of hard to make that come into fruition, I guess. Well,
that's the thing with Toads, having that relationship with Mark and just his own experience and just what he brings to the table. He going with you to Eclipse, going to Tone Good, I'm a huge noob to the studio. It's really this year, our first album we had Joe Holland recorded, and he had a makeshift studio. He does great work too. But I told him right off the bat for that one. I think it comes through now that you hear it. Just tell me when this is getting expensive, and we'll stop. Because, we had a small budget back then. We've been doing a lot better with band fund now, and
which takes a lot of discipline to be if you want to get stuff done. And with a band, I think it's a little bit easier. For me, solo, it gets a little tough because that's the only way I make my money now. But when you're in a band and you split, $500, 3 or 4 ways, and it's is it beneficial to take the money and run, or is it beneficial to pool it and, put it towards something that, invest in yourself for the future for, musically? And I think that if you can do that, it's definitely helpful.
Well, like for instance, when we played that festival in Arkansas, we had a bank of about $2,000 to fund the trip because they weren't paying us to come down there. It was kind of all on our own dollars. So
I did want to get into that. That was getting last time you were on. You were talking about you'd won the competition and you got selected to go down there and play. And I wanted to get kind of into how that all went and stuff.
Yeah.
I've talked to you. I know I've talked to you a little bit, so I know a little bit how it went.
But, it was a little bit anticlimactic towards the end, but the trip down there was a ton of fun. Bill and Toads are great guys to be on the road with. Toads joined up about 1.5 years ago, so me and Bill had played festivals around Illinois before. I think we did. What's the one you played too? Sugar Creek.
Yeah, the
down.
music
They
and
had it
arts.
like down south or something, Vienna. Like they had some 5 hours away.
Okay,
when we
so
played
that was down kind of by Carbondale.
Oh, yeah,
area.
kind of by Carbondale. So we're a little bit like road tested, but Toads drove this time, and we made it all the way down. There was a lot of fun, seeing all the sights, getting out of Illinois, seeing some elevation.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
always nice
going through the
when you-
mountains
when
and
you
stuff.
can.
Yeah. When we actually got there, it's crazy too. It was about 9 hours away. We get there, and you're 50 minutes away, or 50 miles away, but it says you're 2 hours because you're driving up this mountain. So the whole thing is like every quarter mile there's like some crazy sign, and we'd been driving all night, and I'm just looking over at Toads the whole time like, "Are you good, man?" And he's just like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah, those mountain drives can be a little wild.
It was like just curves and curves and cliffs. It was
sometimes I think back because we did a thing out few trips out to Colorado, and I think about some of those shows and driving back at 2 a.m. through these crazy, and it's like I can't even believe I did it. Like
yeah.
because I think about it and it's kind of scary just to think about.
Yeah.
Like when you're in it, you're so in it that you don't really register. You're just kind of like, well, this is what I have to do. Drive, I have to focus.
That's what he was like in the zone, and I was just like cheering him on. I'm like, "Hey man, you got this. If you need to pull over, you can pull over, even though there's nowhere to pull over."
Yeah.
You know.
And then you get all the people that are used to driving it, just like because I drive it's pretty slow on some of those really high kind of scary mountain passes, and so I'm driving way slow, and then the people that are used to it are just like zooming by.
Yeah.
Like it's 2 a.m.
Also,
don't care.
we're like in a van just packed with equipment.
Yeah.
Like we had a buddy that was going down there from Bloomington too. They're in a food truck. Shout out to Shroom Shack and Primordia Foods. They were driving, and they were in a huge truck with like a food truck with a big trailer behind it. And they're like, we couldn't really get over, like there were some hills like we didn't know if we were going to just start rolling back on.
Yeah, I had that
that's
happen.
scary,
We were in
man.
a place in Kitten Ridge, and they had these inclines that were like this and on gravel, and it was like tiny,
Yeah.
skinny roads, and it was like, it felt like I could just like, because you're not driving fast, because you're driving so far, you're like kind of scared, but you have to ride that line of like pushing it.
Yeah.
But not, it
Can't
wouldn't
lose your
take
momentum,
much if you
yeah.
lose your momentum just to slide back. And it was scary. It was really high altitude. I got a little like sick that night because I was so high up in the mountains. And I thought, like at that point, with where that place was in reference to Denver, that I thought like, oh, this would be an easy drive. And it was like so crazy. So like I had it in my mind that it was like going to be, not like piece of cake, like driving to this spot, because I'd gotten some of those harder drives done, and then like I end up with the white knuckles and like
Yeah.
got the completely tense.
I had that in the passenger seat, man. Like, so we left the night before. We had to play at like 4:30 or something on Friday, which seemed like a pretty sweet spot, you know, because we didn't, they worked Thursday. We left Thursday at 6. We drove all the way down to like Springfield, Missouri, or somewhere towards the bottom of Missouri, and we slept in the parking lot of a Huey Magoo's, which I didn't know that was a thing. That's fucking
Huey Magoo?
yeah. Shout out Huey Magoo's. Seemed like a safe place, I guess, to spend the night, spend some time.
Good old Huey.
Yeah, we slept a couple hours sitting up in the van. So like I know Toads is like sleep deprived and shit. We all are. And then it's like we're driving up this mountain. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning, so it's like all this morning fog, and it was just
that'd be rough.
it was so sketchy. Like, and we're like passing joints and drinking monsters. Like, so I'm on the edge of my seat. Like I was like, I don't even need any of this other stuff anymore. I'm wide awake, hoping we don't go over this cliff.
Yeah, that'll wake you up.
We got up there and my amp died right before we played, and my mic was off the whole time. So the show itself was pretty anticlimactic. Sound guy was MIA. But
such a bummer. I mean, that happens so often with anything music related. Is like you think something like you're like, oh, I get this crazy opportunity, it's gonna be so awesome, and you build it up in your head, and then you get there and it kind of falls flat.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that it's always terrible, but just the fact that it doesn't reach kind of even close to where you thought in your mind.
But I will say this, like, I was so mad afterwards, more about the mic situation, and the sound guy not being there. Who knows what was happening? I have no idea. But it didn't go the way we wanted, so I was kind of a little bit over it at that point. But it was a great time up on the mountain. Easily took my mind off of it. But I was thinking about it, and really it's, that was more the reward, I guess, for what we did. Like, I'm not sure if we played great there, how much further along we would have gotten,
Right.
So it was kind of like the journey, the opportunity, even being there was kind of the, we got to have that on our resume. Shows, it wouldn't be a show if something didn't go wrong.
Right.
You know
Especially
what I mean?
those types of shows, because it's like, you got to get in, plug and play as fast as possible, which I kind of mildly hate.
They're on a schedule and stuff.
They're trying to keep everything running smooth, and a lot of times I've had some great experiences where they get like a tech writer, and like I send them, and they're like they've looked at it even, which it's a lot of times you send those things with like your stage plot and all your inputs and stuff. And then you get there and they're like, "What do you need?" Like they didn't even look at it. And you spend all that time on the tech writer. But I've had some good experience where it's like they already are like honestly getting the mics out that they're gonna need and the cables and the inputs, like But a lot of times it's just like any plug and play show is pretty stressful to me.
Yeah,
I'm so used to just taking my time and dialing in the sound that I'm used to.
We are, like, fortunately pretty plug and play, but like no vocal mic and no amp.
Yeah.
Not ideal to play a show. So, but I just went direct in. I sang into the mic, even though it wasn't on. I was hoping maybe it was coming out front of house.
You pretty much just have to roll with it.
You just got to do it.
You got to try to like not show that you're annoyed. Also, you don't want to be that guy on stage. I was at a festival once, and we were watching this band, and the vibe that the guy was putting off, and it wasn't even that the sound was bad. It was that people were requesting a specific cover they used to do, and they were annoyed by we're an original band. Like they kept saying kind of, and that just rubbed me the wrong way.
Like, what's the matter? You don't know any Morgan Wallen?
Is it the tall boys?
That's the
Tailgates, tall boys.
Tall boys. Yeah.
Trucks and boots.
But so I mean that vibe you're putting out is like, even if things are going horribly and I might project this a little, but there's been other shows where I've just been in attendance where you can almost see it in the face, but they're doing a good job of just like playing through.
Yeah.
But like you can tell that they can't, like the vocalists can't hear themselves and they're really uncomfortable, but you just kind of have to smile through it, rely on your muscle memory. It can be really tough sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think you just got to have, like, no expectation and...
Well, that's the key, but that's a hard thing to manage.
The things you can control, you know what I mean? Like, there are times, like, I just turn inward, and it's just, like, it's almost like me, Bill, and Toads are huddled up, and we're just, like, at practice or something, you know what I mean? Like... you gotta
I think
at least bring the energy.
It probably helps to have a group of guys that I'm always by myself nowadays. It's like it can be a struggle because like I can't even like joke around with anybody sometimes. Like I'm there on this big stage. Like I played this one thing where I had to do sound, but it was like a way bigger stage than I'm used to in Champaign, and I was sweaty before. I don't know. I mean, I was just making shit up, essentially, sound-wise, like, to get it louder and to, like... And then, I get to the point where it's like, well, I got to start, so I guess it is where it's at. And then it's... I don't know, like, if you just have an extra set of ears of people to be like, hey, those vocals could probably come up, or hey, that kick drum's too loud, or just little things like that. But since I'm by myself, I don't have any of that. I mean, I could ask the audience, which I think I even did, I was like, sounded okay, but of course they're just like, yeah, sounds great. Like they don't.
I remember too, like when we were playing the Arkansas Fest and my amp died. I remember just immediately I had this look because it was like we had like 5 minutes to play,
Right.
set up, like you said, plug and play, and my amp wasn't working, and like Toads couldn't figure it out, sound guy couldn't figure it out, and I just had this look like I was just like, oh, and I was just like mad and like just distraught, and I remember like Toads just like, sounds fine, guitar sounds fine, like because he had like the direct in through his monitor, and I was just like, okay, like just kind of kicked me in, like, yeah, he's just like, you got it, it's
sometimes
fine, just move
that's
fast,
you just need somebody there to be like,
yeah,
dude, who cares?
because
Like,
it's
even just somebody to be like, just kind of like
you lean on each other a little bit, you know what I mean?
It's almost a joke sometimes, where you're in these situations and that's such a poor spot to be in.
Dude, that's the only time my amps died. Like I always was like so reliable, like my Fender Deluxe VM, just no problems ever, and then the one time it dies is
right when you need it, which
and then Totes takes it back, takes the whole thing apart, puts it together, like cleans it, it works just fine. I haven't had problems since. So
Toads is
the way it
whiz,
goes.
I guess, on
no, dude, anything.
Multiple fronts.
Don't add him. Don't hit him up for anything. But he can do it all. Like, no,
okay,
really
let's shift gears back into the album. So the second song, which was Let It Go.
Let It Go.
Let It Go, which I enjoy a lot.
My favorite on your new album.
Honestly, I think it is probably mine too.
Yeah.
Like it just, I don't know, it just came.
I will say it's
together the best.
definitely a little bit of a vibe change than a lot of your stuff, because it's definitely more of a, it almost has like, your voice doesn't, but the music almost has like a country kind of feel to it. But it's like that kind of indie folk rock kind of sound.
Yeah,
and it's just like a really cool vibe, and the solo in it. Wolf showed me the song before it came out, when you had like the final and you sent it to him, and
yeah, the solo is great.
Thanks, man.
I've told you that before. It's really impressive. Like it just really like explodes into awesomeness.
Pull
That's
out
what she
all of
said.
my little tricks for that.
yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
all the guitar work on all your stuff is always really, really solid, especially the stuff you've been doing with Wolf. It's pretty wild because I've been recording stuff as well with Wolf, and I am not the perfect take one guy.
Oh, we pieced together a lot.
I
of stuff,
know, but like the fact.
Sure. It was all one take, and we did it all in one night, the whole album.
Yeah.
Pretty much though. If you put all the hours together, it wouldn't even like total like half a day.
But then
cut them
our
all
stuff,
up and-
when I'm with you, Wolf, and recording, it probably would be like 3 days altogether. You
3
compile
weeks.
that. 4
Well, I do think we like at
we're
least
still
would start
working
on
on one.
another song or something. Like
Yeah.
we'd finish up that, you'd be like, oh, it'd sound cool if you played on this, and start listening to it, and it's like maybe I don't know, because we ended up doing like 4 or
Yeah,
5
I think,
maybe.
yeah, we did like 4 or 5.
Some not on the album.
Yeah,
but,
I think we did one that's not on the album.
Still put that out. That's a good one too. I like it. It's a good song.
That's a no face from Wolf,
Yeah,
in case
it's-
you were.
Won't
Just
see the
mix it up a
light
little
of
better.
day.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff I could release.
Right, you have.
It's going to be a posthumous
It's
release. We dig through
I hope
this MacBook.
You have to.
I
You have to
should
give
probably
somebody
give you
the key.
password. I
Yeah.
need to give you guys
Yeah,
the
put that in
keys.
your will. Like,
It's stupid, but I've thought about this same. When I get a song that's like close to being done, I'm like, if something happened and this didn't come out, I would be so disappointed.
oh yeah.
Like, I've even told Wolf, like, if something happens, you have to release this.
Yeah. That's always my thought too. I'm like, please put out all my songs that don't suck. Like,
Right.
all
Well,
my recordings.
I don't even care if they suck at that point, I think. Or if they do suck, just redo them yourself.
I got some cringy stuff. Do not listen to it. There's some bad, mostly
I think
old
all
stuff.
musicians do.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's
Anybody
no way.
that records music.
I think there's
Yeah.
no way to write a good song unless you've written a lot of bad songs.
Or,
Yeah.
maybe there was a time where you wrote a really bad song, but you didn't, or, I'm sorry, you wrote a really good song, but you didn't know much about recording, so the mix ended up being really bad.
That's true. Yeah. I'm always more forgiving of that. I love demos. I love
Yeah, same.
really poor quality stuff. I don't know. But
And before this album came out, I mean, I had like a full listen of the full demos of each, and I was like, this is gonna be cool. And then to hear him come from that stage to like, you know, Let It Go the way he did it, it has like, it came a long way. I mean, it sounded good to begin with, but it was cool with a lot of the little stuff you added, I feel like.
Yeah, the post-production was like my favorite part of...
Does that one have horns in it?
Yeah. We had a... I think his name's Austin, but I think his last name's Slotnick, I think. He was assisting Mark in engineering, and he brought his horn. He did some work on the Recombinance album, so Toads had wrote this horn section at the end of Let It Go, and we had Austin play on that, and it just sounded really cool. Like, a lot of this stuff Toads did unprompted, because, you know, just his... production sense, I guess. He's like, we need more in here, and he put some horns at the end. I was like, man, I really love that. He's like, really? I thought it was kind of cheesy, and I was like, it's great. Like, It kind of is, but it works, you know?
Yeah, it works in that song for sure. I like it a lot. It's just a nice, like, flavor change. And it's towards the end, right?
Yeah, it kind of builds into the last chorus, so it really adds a dynamic touch to it that I think the song really benefits from. In some of the other songs, like My Decline, we used the sample of the takeoff from the Challenger mission or whatever. Also his idea. He said it was the decline of the space program, so I'm like, that makes sense, you know? But he's like, you know, it just kind of like kicks into the song. You kind of need to build to it, and he had all these great ideas for samples and little things like that I think really pushed it over the edge and made it, you know, it's like when you're making a record, you know, we play these songs all the time. We know the bones of them, all the main bits, but it's like some of that other stuff can really just elevate it to like a place where you want to hear that like studio recording.
Right.
Know?
And I think with that too, you know, I've talked about this before, but it's like there's a different element to listening to an album like in headphones without any visual distraction, you know, like if you're playing a live song and you're not necessarily maybe A, doing an amazing job of it, or B, you know, you don't have all the bells and whistles of the studio recording, I feel like there's a lot of leeway with that because you get this whole visual element to it, which you know, adds to the experience enough. But when you're in the studio and you're recording stuff, it's like you're thinking about it in a way where, you know, somebody's going to listen to it and they're not going to have any visual, which is just a different experience, I think, altogether. So adding some of those extra things, just even if they're super subtle, I feel like sometimes makes all the difference.
Well, also, like, when I really knew that me and Toads were on the same page with stuff, was that Yeehaw leading into the solo. I'm pretty sure that was his idea, or he just did that. And I was like,
yeah, it's like
that
perfectly
exactly
placed.
needs that, you know? Like, I don't know, just stuff like that where I'm like...
sometimes it just takes just like that one thing to elevate what comes after.
Yeah, it just moves it along and gives it a better transition than it had before. You know what I mean? Like, and our next single is coming out July 21st. It's called Smeared. Wolf edited the cover art for it.
Yeah,
I
you've
don't
done a
remember
couple,
who took the
haven't
picture.
you?
I've done a few things.
Edited the Let It Go cover. That picture was taken by Beth Randall out on her farm. And this Smeared one has like a long, like, Toads kind of did like a little bit of a lone cello intro and then some Nicolas Cage sample. I don't even know what movie it's from, but it's...
you know it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So look forward to that. Yeah. Featuring Nicolas Cage.
That's a hefty feature to get on.
Yeah. I can't believe we got it. Like, you know, like, Toads is resourceful. Like, but that'll be good. And then I think we'll have one more single, Halfway House, coming out either the 4th or the 11th. So
I like this. You're doing 4 singles for the album? Yeah, that's great.
Because we have 5, but, you know, the 5th one, Barnyard, is more of an and that has a secret track at the end where we reprise Peanuts.
Right.
Which everyone seems to love. Like, that's always kind of our ender. and Barnyard just sets it up so well that when we recorded on the album, I was like, well, like me personally, I was like, I didn't even know if we should put it on, but Bill loves that song, and he was like, it has to get recorded. And I was like, well, if we put it on, let's put it at the end, and then kind of do. I always was a fan of secret tracks on CDs, you know.
Back in the day, man, that was I loved that stuff. But it's like, you know, nowadays it's like not many people
it's not really
do albums or listens. Though,
all my tracks are secret tracks.
Yeah,
all the ones that you don't release, are very, very secret. That's funny. So let's just how many tracks are on it?
So it's 5 tracks, 6 songs technically.
Right. So let's just walk through it here. So track 1.
Track 1 will be Smeared. Our next single coming out July 21st.
So anything cool or special or a story to go along with that?
That one, it's just a vibe. It's instrumental. You know, it's
kind of setting the tone.
Yeah. It's I think it's a really nice, just jammy song. It just kind of, we got the Nick Cage sample. We got the cello rain intro. It's like a whole vibe coming into it. And then it breaks. When I came up with the riff, it really reminded me of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. So I thought what Dreams backwards is almost smeared. So that's how I came up with the name. Because it's like when you name an instrumental song, like you don't have any lyrical context. You got to come up with something. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
We use like what is a working title normally just ends up
I almost
becoming
think of like when you do those slides, like you're kind of doing a smearing motion. You know, that's how I hear it in my head or whatever.
I mean, when I was listening to that song in the car, it was a great car song, kind of hypnotic, and I feel like that'd be a great opener song to a show.
We have been opening with that now, too, because we've been kind of more in album mode.
It would be, I don't know, I was thinking instrumental would be cool to do as an opener because, you know, you're getting all the instrument levels kind of where they need to be.
It's the first song on the album, I think.
Right. So it's great for the album, but I think for
we did First show. Last night for sure, too. We kind of have been doing the album mostly to start off shows, like Smeared. And then Let It Go is the second track. And that is, I wrote back in like 2008 at the end of like a long-term relationship. It was some heavy stuff. It was probably like the worst breakup I had, you know, living with someone. And I was saying how it's just kind of like a mantra, you know, just a reminder, like, let it go, just don't make it worse, which, of course, easier said than done. Never really follow my own advice, but, you know, it was like, those are inspiring times, at least. Silver linings of, like, bad shit like that is that you write a lot of songs.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
What do you think about that, Will?
Yeah,
is that
true? Say about that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it really was that for me. Like, it was bad times, but good songs.
Yeah.
And the next one was actually earlier in that relationship. I lived rent-free on this person's apartment. This girl I was seeing at the time for like half a year. I just felt like a total bum. You know, not much you could help out with and stuff. Like, and I just wrote that about being like just a self-aware mess where I felt bad about. You know, it's like, that's what I have the last line of the chorus, or the chorus is, still I'm sitting here in my decline, think of the troubles that pass my mind. I can't stop wasting my sweet free time. I always think of you. So it's like, the last bit's like, but I, you know,
little
I'm
bit
sorry, kind of almost, or something. And then after that was Halfway House, is our fourth track. And that was written about this really crooked apartment I lived in. There's a lot of old buildings.
This one that we're in right now is a good example. We can, in our kitchen, we can lay a ball on the floor. And I'm
tired of rolling off my futon every night.
That's why you're always on the floor.
Exactly.
Fucking, no, the first line of that song actually is drop a pencil on the floor, watch it roll right to the wall.
Right.
So it's just like, but I was also a different relationship at the time. Rocky relationship, and I was kind of like making comparisons between living in this crooked house and kind of this tumultuous relationship.
Man,
So,
you're
like,
killing it with the vocabulary. Tumultuous. Let's do
I
it.
mean, that's another T word too.
Yeah.
Like
Double
I'm
T,
racking them up.
squared.
Don't ask me.
With
You put that one on screen too. 'Cause I'm gonna need that
Even for you,
definition, too.
so you can
I hope
watch
I
it
used
back.
it right, actually.
Tumultuous.
You
All right,
know.
sorry to interrupt.
And it was so like another line in that is, I can't seem to lock you out. I can't even shut my door. So it's like, I can't like keep you out of my life, but also I remember it was really hard to shut our doors in that place. You know what I mean? Like, staircase shakes as I go down. Foundations cannot take much more. Supports are falling all around. Like stuff like that, where it's just like, just trying to make and I feel like I do, when I write songs a lot of times with words, that's when I get on a roll, is if I make, you know, some double entendre sort of thing, you know, and then the whole thing is just
it's mapped out.
Yeah, it's like I have this other song I wrote called Speaking in Tongues, and it's like a lot of Bible references mixed with relationship stuff, like, and it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of gets you to think more, because I've never been great with words. A lot of the guitar stuff comes first, a lot of the riffs. But when I'm like on a roll like that, I'm like, okay, what's another funny, or like not funny, but like a pun, some wordplay I can do.
It gives you kind
know?
of a roadmap and kind of some ideas to explore, I feel like. Sometimes when I'm writing, like I will, you know, I'll be stuck in a spot and I'll be like, well, what's a rhyme for this word? And I'll just look up rhymes. And then I'll be like, that's an interesting word. Sometimes I won't know what it means, so I'll look it up and be like, that doesn't work. Or sometimes I'll be like, I do know what it means, and that would take it in this completely different direction than I would have never thought of.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so having, and you know, some songs are, you know, form driven. You know, like I feel like I have a couple songs where I'm like, you know, I'm gonna write it this specific way, and then it just unfolds. It's almost like a math equation to an extent, and then you have, you know, your regular songs, but having like a good metaphor, a strong metaphor to build on is great,
because then you can just like, you keyword it and you're like, how can this work both ways? Like the course of that Speaking in Tongues thing is it's like, baptized in bullshit, drinking it in, you offer no forgiveness, handing out sins, lost my faith in reason, yeah, you crushed my spirit, I'm speaking in tongues with no one there to hear it.
Oh, that's a good ending.
And it's like, you know, it's talking about this girl that, like, I was seeing that another, you know, it's just pile them up, that just, like, you know, just ended bad, and she kind of just wouldn't validate any feelings I had, so it's kind of like talking about how you just kind of put all this stuff on me, and yet you act like you never felt anything towards me at all. And then you could hear that song and just think it's totally about religion, or talking about how there is no God, or you're just you're praying to someone who isn't there or something. So like, and I just think that gives it more depth, and then people can take what they want, because I think I never like to have my like my lyrics spoon-fed to me, like, this is what you need to feel, this is what it is. Like, I think the best music is stuff that everyone feels like is about them or relates to what they want. You can't kind of leave it open-ended that way.
Or like when you say a lyric and then you just like start thinking about that lyric, like 10 seconds later, you're like, oh, so that's what that means. Or
There's layers to it where it's like, there's,
you can kind of take it at face value.
That's like,
and then you can take it a lot deeper.
The best hip hop is like that, where, you know, they'll say something and like maybe 30 seconds later I'll be like, oh wow.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of like great hip hop like that too, where I'm like, I can't even recall, but like I see like little shorts now, like on YouTube or something, where they'll just draw out like one Eminem line or something, and it's just like, I'm like, whoa, I had no idea. Like,
so did we get to the last song, or did we do
Halfway House, and then the last one is called Barnyard Boogie, and that is more like an instrumental, kind of our funk jam roots. Shorter song, and that kind of sets up into our secret song. Not
Secret's
so secret anymore. You'll be looking at this and being like, that looks like a long song.
We can bleep it out.
Yeah, just a long bleep over all this.
Yeah.
The censor out my mouth too, so no one can read my lips. You know,
whole podcast is going to be a long bleep.
Yeah, please.
Just
please.
I'm
sure
us
I'd
looking really
appreciate that
engaged.
later. But yeah, the last song will be Peanuts on the album, and that's just another kind of just fun song we like to play. We just want an updated version. We have a new drummer, and we have better, just took more time and love with this album. So I'm really proud with how everything turned out, and we might actually re-record some stuff off the first one now for the next one, along with some other new songs, is maybe what we're planning for the next one.
Awesome.
Nice.
So,
We'll
do you
record
have
March
a
or
release
something.
date, or?
August 25th is when it's scheduled to release everywhere digitally. I think we'll have a quick turnaround on CDs. I haven't ordered those yet to be available for the release date also. Hopefully we'll be playing a show. Yet to be determined where we'll be doing that, but we'll make that available once we know everywhere we post.
And if I
stuff.
get the information before this is out, I'll put it in the description and stuff to let people know where that's going to be and all the times and all that stuff. But anything else about the album you want to say, or?
Just go check it out. Appreciate everyone who has listened. It's like...
And you have right now just 2 singles with a third on the way, right?
Yeah, third one will be out. Smeared will be out July 21st. Halfway House will be out either the 4th or the 11th. And then the full album will be out on the 25th of August.
That's cool.
And any other shows coming up that you...
We're playing The Circle on the 16th of August.
Okay, so be on the lookout for that.
What
What day of the week is that one on?
That is a Wednesday.
Yeah, I knew they did the Wednesdays, so...
Yeah.
They usually do Wednesday, Saturday, I think, so... but Wednesday evening, probably around 6 to 7:30ish or something.
Yeah,
like
6
that.
to 7:30. Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. And then it's going to be a little bit of a break, so definitely come out and catch those. We'll be working on some other stuff. Also, Toads and I have another band called the Dusty Lemons. We need to get you some yellow, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That we have been tracking some stuff for. Hopefully, we'll have a release before. Or, sometime in September. I don't think we'll do a show. We might do some pop-up shows. I'm hoping to do a pop-up show in Spellman's apartment.
Okay.
Or something crazy like that, under a bridge somewhere, in a parking garage. It's going to be some weird, dirty, folk punk stuff.
And that's the point.
And
Keep
then
it weird, keep
Brandon
it dirty.
Cattle's single, Peoria, will be coming out sometime in the next couple months this year. With a video accompanying it as well.
Very cool.
So,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
I'm glad you stopped out. I'm excited about the new album. I think that the direction is definitely very cool. The way you're taking it, and
Turned out great, man.
Yeah, thanks. I'm super stoked.
It's just really cool to we've been friends for a while. So to have you come over and work on Wolf's stuff, and he does the album art for you sometimes, come on the podcast sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like it's just nice to have a little bit, not that we're this big scene or anything, but just a few people that are trying to boost each other up.
Definitely.
We've had some things happen where you're having all these features, and maybe somebody can't make it on for some reason, but it's generally the idea behind, I feel like all the stuff you've been doing is that being together collectively, trying to come up with a way to raise everybody up. You're raising all the features are trying to raise your songs up, and it's just been a nice collective or collaboration kind of feel. It's awesome to see.
We throw one more C word out there, community, man.
Yeah.
It really is, though. It's I don't know, it's great seeing all these people working together. It's awesome. You have a feature on every song,
and it's for the love of the
album.
game
Super
and
cool.
nothing else.
Exactly.
It's not like we're getting payouts or anything. It's and I feel like those are we want to make the best thing. That's what it boils down to.
I see it if I had the opportunity to do that, I would take it no questions asked. Just bringing other musicians together to collaborate with each other is just such a simple thing that doesn't happen too much.
It just brings everybody
feel like
on the same page to an extent.
Yeah.
We all have a point of reference for I heard Jay on this Toxic Waste song, and every time next time I see him, I'll probably talk to him about it. I've talked to you at nauseum probably about the guitar work on a lot of Wolf songs and how awesome it is, and it's just cool to have like a lot of like-minded people together.
And you get to know people more. Like people, might get to know you through seeing Jay's stuff who didn't know you before.
Right.
It's cool.
That's the output benefit, right?
Yeah.
Like when you put it out, hopefully it'll go on everybody's Spotify, per feature, and you'll get it out to some different.
My goal was to have 2 features on every song, and right now I think it's at if Toads gets on, it's 11 features, and then if I could just find one other musician to do something, that's a dozen musicians right there.
And that's awesome. And having an excuse to get us all together at even if we're not necessarily in the same room, but just like have like a combined.
Well, and I know
purpose.
I like to feel like, a part of something, and I think also bringing everybody together like that, it everybody gets like a little bit excited about it because everyone's putting their own unique talents on a song, and it comes together, and you hear all these like differences, but all creatively, equal.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to hear all together. And I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, and I think everybody that features on it's pretty excited, like to hear the final product of what they were on and what everybody else did, and
yeah, absolutely,
it's just a cool vibe. And I will say I'm probably not the best at like building like a music scene, but I do feel it more since the podcasting and the Wolf's album, and just having an excuse to get together more is always great. And being a friend with you for a while, watching kind of you grow as a musician as well, and to hear the tracks on this new album that I just feel like you've really stepped up the recording game.
Definitely.
And,
I've seen that. I mean, I've learned a lot this year, and I got I appreciate you like having me come into Eclipse, like seeing how that works, working with Toads, going to Tone Good. I feel a lot more familiar now than I did, and I kind of have a better idea of what I need to do. And with my arm acting up sometimes, my wrists now, my memory, like live music is it's always a fun thing, but you don't always have a lot to that sticks with you unless you record the shows, which I also forget to do a lot. So having taken the time to capture moments in time and make albums or singles, songs, and just record them and put them out and make them their full potential, I think I just have a lot more value in that, and I really want to put a lot more effort into doing that. And I'm hoping to do a solo release. Once the Dusty Lemons thing started up, we immediately started writing songs because it's so inspiring just being able to act like total idiots like we do in that band. Put out that
It's fun
stuff.
though. I mean, it's entertaining.
Yeah, and we're looking for more people, so join up. We're not just a band, we're a movement. We dropped our flag and our beef with cattle, but we're picking one up against the government. So
They're coming for you.
All
right. Well, I think we got it. I'm glad we got you on to talk about it. I hope the people out there enjoyed it. Thanks for sitting in here as well, Wolves. And I think that's it. As always, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and we will talk to you next time. All right. Have a good one.